Continuing from there, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he is from the clan of Hashim within the tribe of Quraysh. So his clan of Hashim is an offshoot of the broader tribe of Quraysh. Quraysh is the noblest Arabian tribe. Yani amongst the Arabs themselves, they deemed Quraysh the noblest because they were the people of the Haram, which is the sacred territory. The Haram, Haram, as if it's haram, but it's not haram, it's just haram. The Haram is the sacred territory, the sacred territory of Mecca. Abraham is the one who established that place as a sacred territory. One might wonder, why is it a sacred territory? How is it a sacred territory? Why is how and why is it a haram? The answer is that because Abraham made it as such. He dedicated that district and he specified the borders of the haram, the sacred territory. And that area of the sacred territory, that's where the tribe of Quraysh were. That's where their settlement was. So they were the caretakers of the Kaaba, or the keepers of the Kaaba. And they had the nicest Arabic of all the Arabs. That's because they used to be in, huh? They are the noblest of the Arabic tribes. So the Arabs, that means all the Arabian Peninsula. The whole Arab Peninsula. All those tribes in the Arabic Peninsula. So you talk about Yemen and Qatar and Bahrain and all those, a lot of areas, countries there on that peninsula. Because back in the day, yani, it's not like today. They did have countries then. They did have Yemen then. They did have some other countries then. But those were Arabs. They still are. Uh, Maybe they were more tribal then, though, and because they didn't have central government in Arabia. And so Quraysh was the noblest tribe. And their Arabic was the nicest, the most eloquent, because they used to encounter all the different Arabs. Because the Arabs used to go to the Haram to do Hajj. Yes, but I don't know what's the dynamics because the world today is much different, with governments and everything, the way governments are. So there definitely is still people from the tribe of Quraysh. If you want, you could say eloquent, the most eloquent Arabic. The Quran was revealed according to the way they speak. Most of the Quran. Most of the Quran is revealed the way Quraysh speaks. And some of the Quran is revealed according to other Arabic dialects. You were going to ask a question? Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he is the slave of Allah and his messenger. Abdullahi wa rasuluhu. So when you say Muhammad is the slave of Allah, that means he does not deserve to be worshipped. That's what Jesus said when he was first born, when he spoke in the cradle. The very first thing Jesus said was, Inni abdullah. I am the slave of Allah. Yes. We say Muhammadun abdullahi wa rasuluhu. Muhammad is the slave of Allah and his messenger. When we say he is the slave of Allah, that means that he does not deserve worship. And that's the same thing that Jesus said when he was first born. Yani, not very, very first born, when he spoke in the cradle. He was still a newborn. He was 40 days old, Jesus. He said, Inni abdullahi atani al-kitaba wa ja'alani nabiyya. I am the slave of Allah. He shall give me a book and make me a prophet. So Muhammad is the slave of Allah, so he doesn't deserve to be worshipped. And add here that he should not be praised beyond the acceptable limit in any way. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he is praised, but not beyond the acceptable limit. Praising him beyond the acceptable limit is extremism. Extremism, like what? Like saying Muhammad knows all that God knows. That's blasphemy. Or like saying Muhammad was the first creation. Or like saying Muhammad is made of light. So exaggerating and praising the Prophet like that is sinful. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He is the slave of Allah and his messenger. A messenger, as you know, is a prophet who receives laws. Laws that are different from the previous messenger. And a prophet who's not a messenger, a Nabi who's not a messenger, he implements the laws of the messenger before him. Adam, he was a messenger because his law was the first law, so he had to be a messenger. In Adam's case, it's not a case of uh, abrogating a previous law. He was the first one, so he is a messenger. Alayhi salatu wassalam. And Moses was a messenger, and Noah was a messenger. The five greatest prophets were all messengers. Any messenger prophet is better than a non-messenger prophet. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Than the non-messenger prophets. The messenger prophets are greater than the non-messenger prophets. And the five greatest prophets were all messengers. In this order: Muhammad, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and Noah. Yes. Muhammad, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and Noah. Jesus was the last messenger before Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there was no prophet between them. And there's a famous mistake spread spread in many books of Muslim scholars, even some big Muslim scholars. That mistake is to say that a prophet who is not a messenger receives laws that he's not obligated to convey. So that's a mistake, because if he's not obligated to convey what was revealed to him, then what is he doing? He's a prophet. Conveying is his job. That's his task. So what does it mean to say a prophet who's not a messenger received the law that he was not obligated to convey? It doesn't make sense. One must believe that he was born in Mecca and he was sent as a messenger therein at the age of 40. When he was 40 years old and he was still a citizen of Mecca, the angel came to him in the cave. The angel surprised him when he came in there. And then the story is mentioned what happened there between them. Yes. So he was born in Mecca. First, he was raised by his mother because his father passed already. His father passed before he was born. Then, when his mother passed, his grandfather took him. His grandfather took him. Then his grandfather passed away, and then his uncle took him. Sorry. So he was with his mother first, and his mother died when he was 6. Then he went with his grandfather. His grandfather died when he was 8. Then he went with his uncle, and his uncle lived to see him become a prophet. And the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, He was sent as a messenger while he was a citizen of Mecca when he became 40 years old. They say 40 years old is the prime of a man's intellect. So they say 33 is the prime of his strength, and 40 is the prime of his mind. And he received the revelation the very first time. He received it when he was in the cave of Hira. That's outside of Mecca. That's the cave he was in when the angel came in and surprised him. And he stayed there in Mecca for 13 years, teaching the people the belief and calling people to Islam. So at 53 years old, he migrated to Medina. He migrated to Medina, and he was not the first Muslim to leave to go there. Meaning, what happened there? Why they started migrating? Because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, during one of the Hajj, one year at the Hajj, this is an invalid Hajj those Arabs are doing. I meant to say that because they weren't Muslims. You want to add that to some of your earlier notes. I told you. The tribe of Quraysh, yeah, yeah, they were pagans. The tribe of Quraysh, they had the best Arabic because they were encountering all the Arabic tribes. Why they were encountering all the Arabic tribes? Because the Arabs used to make Hajj, what they called Hajj, wasn't a valid Hajj though. How the Arabs knew about Hajj before Prophet Muhammad, they got it from Abraham and Ishmael. But they perverted it. Those old Arabs, their pagan religion is like Christianity. I mean, just like how Christianity came out of Islam, and Christianity is a perversion of Islam, a severe perversion. No, no, Adam made Hajj. Adam built the Kaaba first, and it was very large. So, how they wound up going to Medina? It was because one year the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam he met some people from the city of Medina. They came to Mecca, and then he gave them dawah, and they believed in him. Then they went back to their town and they talked to people. So the next year, more people came and they embraced Islam. Then the next year, more people came. So that's when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam he sent two scholars to them. And then from there, Allah revealed to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to order the Muslims to migrate. So at that time, it was a personal obligation to leave Mecca if you're able to and go to Medina. So when they did migrate to Medina, then Medina became the first Islamic state in the nation of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because before that, they were Mecca, and the Muslims did not have control over Mecca yet. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam he passed away there 10 years later, and he died there. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was truthful in everything that he told about. Everything that he told about the religion, whatever he said about the religion is true and correct. So the Prophet was truthful about everything that he conveyed from Allah. He doesn't make a single mistake in anything that he conveys from Allah. Even if he makes ijtihad, it's possible. The correct saying is that a prophet can perform ijtihad. So whatever he says out of his mouth about religion is 100% true. But it is possible that he would be mistaken about something that's uh, not a religious rule. Ijtihad is the deducing of the judgment, deducing a judgment from the religious text. Or you could call it, if you want, deriving the judgments. So he's never mistaken in any religious judgment, even if he made an ijtihad. The difference between the Prophet's ijtihad and a scholar's ijtihad is that if a Prophet makes ijtihad, he's always right. He is truthful about everything that he conveyed from Allah. So we need to say that, truthful about all that he conveyed, because possible that Prophet ﷺ spoke about some worldly issue like some farming, and then their crops were ruined. And the Prophet ﷺ, he is truthful and correct about everything that he conveyed from Allah. I mean, that's clear.